Hey everyone, this is Miko from the Permit Empire. And I want to thank you so much for tuning into this video. I want to thank those of you who have recently liked, commented, shared, even subscribed to my channel. And I want to let you know that I really do appreciate it. Now, I ask if you haven't done any of those things so far, that you go ahead and feel free to do so today. So in today's video, I wanted to jump in here really quickly and kind of talk a little bit about when can you expect payment for your services as it pertains to being a permit runner. Now, I usually, if you've watched any of my other videos where I talk about your payment and how to set those things up, I am always going to encourage and advise anyone who is thinking about getting into permit running services, providing those services, that you make sure that you at least get a 50% upfront deposit for your services. So with that being said, let's say you charge $100 for your services. That is just me giving out an even amount because it makes it really easy to kind of split that up, right? So let's say for your full permit running services, you charge $100. That means you should be collecting upfront at least a $50 payment for those services. Again, if you charge $200 for your permit running services, that means you should be collecting upfront when you go to pick up those permit documents to have them submitted to the building department. Whenever your client lets you know that they have a new project ready for you to submit to the building department, you need to go ahead and collect a 50% upfront payment. So again, if you're charging $200 for your services, it's time to go ahead and collect that $100 payment upfront for the services that you are rendering. Now, yes, I do wait until the permit has been approved to collect my remaining 50% balance. So if I'm charging $200 for services, I got that $100 up front, right? And I am not going to collect another fee or another payment until after that permit has been processed and approved. And then I am taking the remaining balance. I'm collecting that remaining balance from my client. Now, that is for some of those projects that are smaller. They're a little bit simpler, roofing projects, window and door projects, driveways, those kind of things, fence permits. Those are smaller projects and they don't require as many reviews. They're not so large. It doesn't take so much time to have those reviewed at the building department. So yes, those are those permits that I am talking about when you're collecting 50% up front, 50% remaining afterwards. Now, when you get into some of those larger projects, and when I say larger projects, I mean like new builds, new home construction, commercial construction, those type of things. Where those projects are larger, they're going to have to go through multiple reviews. There's a good chance it's going to be rejected in plan review at some point. Those type of projects, those larger projects, right? I do advise you to get into some type of agreement with your client, something that's written up with your client that shows when you're expecting your payment, because in that case, I don't collect just 50% up front and then 50% once it's been approved. I do break that up into about 4 different payments. Usually I'm looking at, okay, I'm going to get my 50% up front, right? Or let's say in this instance, I'm getting 25% up front because it's a larger project. Let's say it is a new single family home is being built. So in that case, of course, it depends on your client and what you sit down and discuss with that client, what works best for the both of you. But in that case, generally speaking, I'm collecting a 25% upfront payment, something around that arena or that area, right? I'm collecting maybe a 25% upfront payment. And then once it passes through, let's say zoning, once zoning says that, hey, you can proceed with this project, usually it's either going through zoning or it's going through maybe let's say the county building department where they have environmental department, just kind of determining if this is even something that you can do in this area. Once it gets approved there, like I said, either zoning or environmental, it just depends where you are, what that next step is. Once it gets approved there, I go ahead and I collect another 25%. So that makes up the 50% upfront. Like I said, once I am submitting the documents, I collect that 25%. Once I get the approval from the building department or the county or environmental or zoning that this is a project that we can move forward with, once I get that, hey, I am collecting another payment at that point, which is usually another 25%. So that equals that 50% up front. Now, once it goes to review, like, again, I may have something more that I'm doing, like once it goes through review, it goes through the building department review, I may collect another 25%, or just depending on the next steps in your area, you may collect the 50% at the end at that point, or you may break it up and do another 25% once it gets through. Maybe you had to apply for the electric, the water, some of the utilities in the area. Maybe you want to collect another 25% once that gets approved, and then leaving a 25% payment due at the end. And you do want to write up some type of contract when it comes to projects of that size, those new construction, commercial projects, those kind of things. You do want to have some type of agreement with your client to say, hey, this is our guidelines, and this is how we are going to walk this project out, and this is when I'm going to expect payment. This is when you can expect to pay me, that kind of thing. You're going to want to have some type of contract. It doesn't have to be anything super duper crazy. You can just go online. I can't even remember the name of the certain website that I was using to do up my contracts. I think it was Rocket Law, something like that, right? You can go on there, you just put in your information, you can put in your client's information, and it gives you like templates that you can use to build your contract. Again, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It doesn't have to be, all these, I need a lawyer. It doesn't have to be all of that per se. It just needs to be something that shows that, hey, this is the agreed upon dollar amount. This is when we agree to have this payment released to me. This is the total amount. It needs to be some type of contract, because that is what holds up in a court of law. That contract needs to be signed by both yourself and your client, showing that these are the details of your agreement, and that is what you should be looking to do. Again, if it's a smaller project, I say at least take 50% up front and the remaining 50% balance once that project has been approved. And sure, if there's a situation, and this happens, where it doesn't get approved, you need revisions, you need corrections, you need all those multiple things, I charge for that. That's a service that you can charge for. Your client has got to be well aware that, yes, if I have to go back to the building department 3 times to submit corrections, I'm going to be charging. I'm going to be charging you an additional. You might not charge for a complete full permit fee, but you have to have some fees taxed in, because you're considering, are you going to the building department? And even if you are not going to the building department, are you taking time away from another project to take care of this project? You have to consider that. So definitely you want to make sure, I'm getting this and I'm getting my remaining payment once this has been approved. But if there are additional corrections, things of that nature, which causes me to give more time, attention, and effort to this project, you got to be prepared for that with pricing. Okay. So I wanted to just drop this real quick video. I hope it provided a little bit of clarity to you, but of course you can always leave me a question, leave me a comment in the chat, and I look forward to chit-chatting with you later. Thanks so much for watching.